Welcome to a very special Army showcase in which we get to show off something I don't think I've ever seen done before. A community-built army. Introducing the Play on Deathwatch. So back at the beginning of the year, we had a little bit of an idea. We wanted to find a way to include our supporters from Patreon into our games. We thought of this idea of a community-built army. So Steve drafted up roughly around a 3,000 point army of Deathwatch, and we put it up on a Google Doc and welcomed people to sign up if they wanted to and choose a model, paint it, and send it in. And to be honest, we were a little nervous because we were wondering, does anybody actually want to do that? Does it feel like too much of an ask to have people buy a miniature, paint a miniature, and then send it in and with no knowledge of whether it'll actually get used or not? And we were humbled and honored by the response, and the results are in front of you. Over 40 people submitted individual models or groups of miniatures. Some people signed up to bring big things like a Corvus Black Star or a Dreadnought or a Repulsor. And some people went to town converting individual miniatures to be some of the most unique and pretty miniatures I've ever seen. And the amount of love and detail that went into every single one of here is just so cool. We had brand new painters and seasoned painters and everything in between, and the amount of stories that came out of it. And now we have a Deathwatch army to play with on the channel. We're gonna have an inaugural game with it coming up soon. Space Marine Steve has volunteered and is joyously excited to play and pilot the Deathwatch against another new Xenos army that we've been putting together as well. I'm excited to tell you more about that soon. Our requirements were, please don't base the model, or if you do, kind of try to do like a gray rubble and leave one shoulder painted orange and blank. And we were gonna do the basing ourselves and a decal on the shoulder to try to unify the army. And that gave us some latitude to try to make the army cohesive, because when you're getting 40 plus people to paint miniatures, you can't guarantee that they're all gonna turn out the same. They might use different shades of orange or different conversions or various painting styles. We didn't want to restrict anyone from being a part of it. So we opened it up to everyone regardless of their painter ability, and it's looking really cool. We did a very simple basing. It was some sand grit, some gray paint, and caulking, mixed all together to make a really quick paste that went on the base that didn't require a lot of extra work to make simple bases. Next, we made some custom decals from decal paper, printing out the Play On logo at different sizes to put on the shoulder pad, and it really gives a cohesive look. I'm also really impressed with how close all the oranges are. It could have been all over the place, but in general, this army looks cohesive. It works really well. And we have some really cool centerpiece hero miniatures, some big guys, some small guys, units of infiltrators, heavy eradicators. We got the works here. A lot of people are wondering why we chose Deathwatch. Well, in the lore for Deathwatch, the Deathwatch are actually made up of all the different Space Marine chapters who send recruits to the Deathwatch to be a part of them for a time. And so it just seemed fitting because it allowed us to have a lot of freedom in the lore of it and a lot of freedom in the style of miniatures, because someone coming from the Ultramarines would keep their armor in a vastly different state of repair than someone's from, say, the Space Wolves. And so we can have all the different cool bits integrated throughout the entire army. And so many people did so many cool things to convert their miniatures. Like, I'm particularly fond of the sheer cheekiness of this guy right here. It looks like a Raven Guard recruit, jump pack guy. He's standing on a bunch of dead Tau, and all the Tau are painted to be in my army scheme. It's fantastic. Or this miniature right here, lovingly converted by Nick Growlich, who's been on our channel before. We'll probably end up running him as our company agent. The amount of stories that we heard from this army was just really cool. For instance, one person told us about how this was their very first paint job that they'd ever done, and they really wanted to learn how to paint and submit just for this. Another guy told us about how him and his sons painted it together. His kids picked out the colors and he painted the miniatures. Another person talked about each of the miniatures in his group that he submitted represented, for instance, him and his brothers.
My name is Dr. Rhino. I'm a Twitch streamer, but more importantly, I'm a Patreon supporter of Play on Tabletop. Overjoyed to be able to participate in this Patreon supporter army, this Deathwatch force that we have come together to create. I've gotten to contribute a unit of 3 Flamestorm aggressors. These 3 Flamestorm aggressors actually come from the custom Space Marine chapter behind me. They are known as the Cosmic Rhinos. These Cosmic Rhinos are a Salamander successor chapter. They are known for sharing that love that the Salamanders have of protecting the common folk. These 3 in particular represent myself and my 2 brothers. So best of luck to Matthias, Ionatus, and Albertus. And to the rest of you, consider supporting the Patreon. It's a pretty awesome crew around here. We'd love to have you.
Here we have a Deathwatch, just a regular Deathwatch squad with a whole smattering of different kinds of guys. We have 4 different librarians forming a nice librarian conclave. I particularly love the guy that is trying to rustle down a Tyrannid Gaunt. We've got a number of jetpack guys and some cool conversions there. We've got a tech marine. We have our chapter master. We have various lieutenants ready to go over here. Beautiful Redemptor Dreadnought right here. A Razorback that also can be converted into a Rhino as needed. A spattering of bikes, the assault bikes, including a chaplain on bike that he's currently running over a gene stealer. We have various forms of infiltrators right over here ready to go and infiltrate. Corvus Blackstar number 1 and Corvus Blackstar number 2. Very different painters. They still work together. The army really works together. I'm so impressed by how close we were. And look at this other dreadnought right here, painted to be different than the other one, and it still works. Whole smattering of aggressors, heavy intercessors, and eradicators, and the repulsor, the ancient, the librarius. It just goes on and on. There's so many cool miniatures in here. I wanted to share some of the stories that some of the patrons sent in themselves about their experience being a part of this army.
Well, I'm Loree Davis. I'm local in this area. I have painted one tiny little Space Marine man who is a Emperor's Spear. I mean, they're the Emperor's Spears. I mean, I don't know how you get any better than that. All custom bits. He's got a beautiful custom knee pad that is completely obscured by his shield. Fur embroidered Play on Tabletop shoulder pad. This is actually the first Space Marine I've ever painted.
Hi, I'm Erin, head admin of the Play On community Discord and painter of Caster Lavelle the Blood Moon, Watchmaster of the Play On Community Army. So this was a really fun project. This was about 5 or 6 different minis that I was able to cobble together with sprue goo and hopes and dreams. I think I produced something that I really enjoy and I hope does well on the tabletop. I think this was a really fun idea. We have a great community on the Play On Discord, and I thought it brought everyone together in a way that I hadn't seen, and everyone was very supportive of each other. I think we should do it again.
My name is Gabe. I built and painted the Primaris Tech Marine for the Play On Community Army. It was a ton of fun to be able to participate in such a cool project with all of these other incredible creators that I wouldn't have been able to meet if it wasn't for Play On. It was such a positive experience, everybody bouncing ideas off of each other and supporting each other. I hope that Brother Ulysses serves you well.
I did 5 of the infiltrators and 5 of the incursors for the Play On Community Army. I did a bunch of green stuff sculpting too, including my first attempts at hair. All but 3 of them are based on people who have come in on Play On as Marine armies. Dave the Warhound, Tycho the Dusk Raider, Black Shield Steve, Ultramarine Tech, Blood Angels JP, Dark Angels Chris, and Non-Town Nick from the Space Wolf.
Hey Play On crew, this is DJ, also known as DJ Squared over on the Discord. I did for you guys the Raven Guard Librarian, Cyrus Catano. I really wanted to do a fun kitbash. What the project did help me do, realizing that thousands of people are going to be looking at this model on the channel, was my painting skills. It really did motivate me to pick up a couple extra skills, like camo triangles on the cape on the back were really fun. Mostly the eyes. Usually I will skip over eyes, I'll just fill in them with wash and call it good. For this one I really wanted to have eyes that looked really cool up close. Spent about 2 days learning how to paint eyes, and I'm super happy with how it came out. I'm super happy that you guys are happy with it. Can't wait to see what happens next.
So next up is we've got to play this force. we've got to get a game in. We do have a 1 game planned. Its inaugural game is going to be against a Xenos faction, as appropriate, played by Tycho. And it's also a brand new army that we haven't seen on the channel before that we just got finished, and we're looking forward to putting that on the channel as well. There's just so much possibilities here, and I'm so thankful for everyone that contributed. We have a really cool community on our Discord through Patreon that I'm proud to be a part of, and very humbled of their trust in us and how they support us. Because we really couldn't be doing this without all the supporters and you watching right now. So thank you so much for being a part of this and watching. And let us know what kind of armies we should face with this. There's been a lot of calls on Discord to start another community army. We probably will take a little bit of break before we do that again, but it does seem like a very cool opportunity to try something else. We've had a lot of suggestions for something maybe Age of Sigmar. And thank you for everyone that contributed. And until we see you next time,
Play on.
Play on.
Play on.
Play on.
Play on!